Yo!
Welcome to the Freitas Effect. I am Azeb Freitas, your co-host.
I am Simon Freitas, your other co-host.
Yay! We did it. We're here.
Yeah.
How are you, brother?
I am alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic.
Good.
You know?
Glad to hear it.
Oh, yeah. Especially since we just got some cocoa leaf. You know
Heyo.
that BLT, that fresh mango strawberry smoothie. Keeping me alive. How about you?
I think I had a kumquat iced tea thing with aloe vera. It was smacking.
Yes.
So this week's topic is family, friends, and fights, baby. Ooh. So pretty much we were talking the other day about like fights, and we thought it would be an interesting topic for us to explore. So we are going to get into how the turns have tabled.
Oh, yeah. So today on How the Turns Have Tabled, I decided that it's time to share the old Simon Freitas. So when I was a kid, I actually used to get suspended a lot. Azeb can attest to this. Whatever. I guess when you take, justice into your own hands, it's not as good as people would want. But this specific time was I was fighting with he was my best friend at the time. Right now we are just, but yeah, no, he's gone in my life. But at this time we were best friends, and it was 7th grade, and I hadn't gotten suspended in a while. Like, I was really good after 6th grade. And I was just a normal student after 6th grade. But we were, I don't even know. He just was in the back of the room poking the fish with a pencil because there was a class pet fish. And then he just, I don't know, it was pissing me off. I told him to stop. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna tell the teacher?"
Because back then you wanted to be a veterinarian, so you actually cared.
Yeah, and also just
animal lives.
Exactly.
I think you probably still do care. But
exactly. Yeah, I do give a fuck about animals and when people do abuse the shit out of them, especially when it's just your friend and he's just being a fucking idiot. So. I went over and I was just like, "Hey, can you fucking stop?" And he's like, "What, are you gonna tell the teacher?" I was like, "Oh, bitch, watch me." So I take his pencil and I throw it in the recycling bin, and the recycling bin was a large ass motherfucking bin. Like, it wasn't like one of those knee-high ones.
Wait, wasn't it one of those really big ones?
The brown ones.
Was this inside or outside?
In the Whittier. Oh, it was inside one of the classrooms. It was weird.
We had a giant box thing.
Yeah, it's probably about 5 feet high.
Okay, yeah, it was the open
big
ones.
Yeah, the big open ones.
Okay.
It could probably contain enough recycling for an entire floor, but we had one in every classroom. Yeah. Because waste. And so I throw the pencil in the recycling bin, and he's only about 4'11" at this point. So then he can't reach in there, but I'm really tall, so I can. And he's just like, "Come on, can you just reach in there and give me my pencil? That wasn't cool." And I'm like, "You poking the fish wasn't cool." And then he was like, "Come on, man." And I was like, "All right, you want your pencil?" So I throw the recycling bin on the floor, and I say, "Crawl in, bitch." So then he does, and he comes back out, and he punches me in the chest. And I was like, "Oh, hell no." So then I try to punch him in the chest. And like I said, he's very short and I was very tall. So I punched him in the forehead. And he had an egg.
He had a whole egg. I remember that.
On his forehead. And then I immediately was like, "Fuck, I'm getting suspended again." And I hadn't been suspended in so long.
Oh, really? I thought that was maybe the 7th time.
No, 7th and 8th grade. I only got suspended once or no. I would get internal or detention, but suspended, that didn't happen as much. I got suspended all the fucking time when we moved from private to public school. But that was just because, I stuck out, whatever the fuck happened, school and children. But I remember it was the day before the MCAS, so they told me I only should come in, take the MCAS, which is the standardized test for all elementary and high school students in Massachusetts, and then go home. And it was like, really? I can go the fuck home after I take this test? And they were like, "Well, it's not just going home, you're suspended." And I'm like, okay, but none of this ever shows up on my report card. Sure. It's this will never be in a record of applying to college.
But back then we didn't know that, you know what I mean?
I didn't, but I kind of assumed nigga, I'm just getting the rest of the day off. All y'all are going to be stuck in this sweaty ass gym at the end of the year, and I am going to be able to just go home and make a PB&J. Yeah, watch some SpongeBob, live life. It was the shit. I was just like, damn, I should beat people up more often. But then I was like, no, I shouldn't.
Well, when you think about the system of getting suspended, what does that actually do for you? Or getting internal, you know?
Seriously.
It's like, what is that actually doing for you? It's
Nothing.
giving you another study period.
It's just taking you out of the class because they don't want to have that hard conversation with you. Like,
True,
the conversations I would have would just be either someone yelling at me or, like, I don't know, just a very, like, strong reinforcement that what I'm doing is wrong, but not, like, any kind of guidance or direction other than just walk away from the situation. And it's like, you can't walk away from every situation. If I'm in the middle of class and someone's whispering things
avoidance.
at me, and then it's like the teacher, I've tried walking away sometimes, and the teacher thinks I'm making a scene, or, like, I try to move my desk, and then the teacher's
trying
like...
to prevent a larger situation from happening.
Exactly, but no one wants to see the entire story. They only see what they see. And, you know, it's hard to react in those moments when you are the adult, but I remember just being the child and being like, I'm not learning anything from this. I just keep getting fucking suspended.
I mean, I guess you might have been like a very mature child, but also we shouldn't underestimate like what children are observing and learning and what they know.
Yep.
But also to like support middle school teachers and teachers in general, like shout out to y'all because you have to deal with a lot of fucking bullshit. And you gotta be up hella early in the morning to actually like be awake and teach and deal with children.
Especially
so, like, shout
middle
out to y'all.
school and like
that's tough. That's really
God.
tough. So shout out to all y'all that are
gross.
actually doing the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
You should definitely be getting paid more for what you do. And like, sorry that Betsy DeVos is like in charge of like public school system and doesn't give a shit about us right now. But it'll get better, we promise. Hopefully, the American dream.
Hope.
Hello,
Medica.
Anyways, did you finish the story?
That was the end.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah. So how did the turns table?
That I got the days off for MCAS because I beat some kid up.
Oh, okay. You were like, well, actually, it was beneficial that I beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, well,
Hello.
I don't know. I feel like at that point he kind of deserved it, but like that's just my own resentful feelings. Like I said, I never really beat kids up because I was just like, oh, I don't know. I feel like there was some
It's
anger
not like
issues.
you were a bully. Like, you weren't one of those, like, give me your lunch money. Like, I'm out to get people. It was always like somebody did something to you first.
Yeah.
Or somebody did something, then you were like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And you would say something, and then they would be like, it's time to fight. And Simon, you would just be like, well, I have no choice. Now I'm in attack mode because this person is defensive against me. And then because you were the bigger person or like the darker skinned person in the situation, then you were usually the one that would get most of the punishment. Yeah.
And it sucked, but it was also just kind of like, I got a lot of time to hang out with my dad and my grandfather at work. Like,
times,
you know, it's like,
times.
there were a lot of good
jealous.
memories.
I'd be like, the fuck? I get suspended.
I got used to it. Like, that's what's bad.
Which is like worse because they're teaching you if you fight or whatever, if you do something bad, right, then they just remove you from an environment that could help you get better.
Yeah. Just taking someone out of it doesn't make it automatically
better. And honestly,
better,
when you think about it, it's preparing
you
for the prison system. You know, it's like, okay, you did something bad in real life, so rather than actually helping you try to figure out how to not do that again, we're just going to isolate you.
Yep.
And punish you more and drive you crazy.
Yeah.
And make you do slavery. So suspension in middle school leads to slavery.
There we go.
Bam!
Turns
how the
tabled.
turns have tabled. Yeah. But it was funny. The other day I was thinking about how I've never really gotten into a physical fight. People have always tried to like approach me and be like, you were talking shit. And I'm like, hell yeah, I was. And like, I would just say that. And then nobody would hit me because they'd be like, oh shit, she said the truth. And I'm like, yeah, what the fuck are you going to do? Like, you know you don't want to hit me because I'm obviously not lying to your face. Yeah, I was talking shit. Hello. But I used to think about like when you used to be smaller than me and I used to be able to take you.
Yeah.
And we used to fight. Like, I used to
go
actually hit
you.
Yeah,
we used to go
hit
real
me and like
fucking
that was
hard.
painful, but it was okay because we'd laugh it off and everything. But then the day came.
Do you remember like our friends would watch us fight?
And
it
was hilarious
because it would just be like we'd go so hard, and then afterwards we'd be like,
we would
okay,
really
good
go hard,
fight.
and then I would be like, all right, we gotta stop at some point. But I used to like actually win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
but like then the day came when you got bigger than me and I was like, oh, I'm gonna actually die if I try to do this again. I think I was maybe like 14. I was like, when I realized, I was like, this cannot happen. Even now, I would never. Never. I don't think you would ever because I feel like you probably know you would kill me. So yeah. But then that's when I started to prank you because I knew if I pranked you, that was another way I could win. And then mom and dad told me I had to stop pranking you.
Well, you did write virgin on my forehead in permanent marker.
Okay, well, it came off.
I didn't, to be honest, world, I did not even know that this happened. Like, my mom was so quick to wipe that off my forehead that it was just like, the only way I found out was when I checked my Instagram the next day and Azeb tagged me in the picture.
So we didn't have, like, any clout back then, so it didn't really matter. But, I mean, it mattered. But it didn't really matter.
I feel like that is a good segue leading into our main topic. Which is... Oh.
Go ahead, you start it, and then I can go into it.
Alrighty, Roo. So, our main topic is friends and family involved in fights.
So thank you, Simon, for introducing that. I kind of created a little intro because you did more of the research on this topic today.
Oh, yeah.
So, in terms of this topic of family and friends being involved in fights, I feel like nowadays fighting is definitely more emotionally abusive than physically these days. And that's the shit that can really get to you, especially in your head, especially because we're in a time where people are legally not allowed to beat their children anymore. So physical harm is like big no-no, right? Which it always was, but like now it's like official, and it's kind of the norm now, right? Even in foreign households, like it's becoming more of a norm where people are like, oh, I really can't beat my kids.
Well, yeah, because it's the laws and, you know, abuse, neglect. Like, if anyone witnesses it, then everyone's an automatic, what's that called? Something reporter.
Mandated reporter.
Yeah.
So we were thinking of some questions of like, what happens if like the whole family starts fighting and it's like really serious and like you're the person that's there at your friend's house, or vice versa, your friend's at your house and your family's exploding, or like what, you know, as a bystander, what do you do? And we were also thinking about like, when is it okay to get involved? Like, what is your place in those situations? Or like, how do you remove yourself from those situations? But as we get into this topic, we just want to mention that as we discuss these family situations, we understand that there are all types of dynamics of families. And, you know, there are like the quote unquote traditional homogenous, like husband, wife, kids situation, but there could be all types of plethora of like families that are, especially in this modern age, that have definitely existed before, like, you know, media and whatnot, with like Modern Family, or like, you know, people that don't show typical representation of like different types of families. So we just want to let y'all know we are not experts. We just have to give you that disclaimer.
No, we are not.
And we're just talking about what we think. This is all opinion based.
Oh yeah.
Pero Simon decided to get an article, so he's going to dig into that.
So this article, it is from the Wall Street Journal. It is called "The Family That Fights Together." I don't remember who it's by. I didn't put that in here. I hope we have the legal ability to put this and talk about this, but we're doing it. So this article was really interesting.
Yeah, it was. It really was, and it was short. We'll put the link in the bio if y'all want to read it. Because it was honestly, it was like a decent read.
It was really, it was just, I really liked it because it showed both sides of like different kinds of child psychology, you know, like beliefs. Because it was talking about different kinds of like fights that parents have in front of their children, and how some fights are good to have in front of your kids to like kind of teach, you know, like a positive way of fighting and arguing and having conflict resolution, instead of just, okay, well, this makes me mad and we're in front of the kids, so we can't do this, or just totally losing everything and being like, oh, well, fuck you and fuck this and like just totally going off in front of the kids, and just showing like how both of those are wrong, but there is a right way to do it. And like, I really liked, there was it didn't really talk about like friends being over, but I kind of just saw it as, you know, like my own personal extrapolation of this article, like with it saying how parents, like children learn from their parents nonstop, even when they're not trying to learn, like they are. And especially with
generational trauma that is passed down from what you observe from your parents. I think about that all the time, of the behaviors that I've observed from mom and dad that I act, and I'm like, oh crap, when I'm aware of the behaviors that I'm doing, I'm like, oh, okay, do I want to keep acting that way, or do I want to like evolve and change this so I don't pass this to my children.
Yep.
And it's like nothing against mom and dad, but it's also like, there are things that you're just kind of like, that's not how I want to handle this situation.
Yeah. And it's just bringing those subconscious behaviors onto the conscious level and really being, exactly as you said, aware of the behaviors that you're doing and making the choice in that moment.
Yep.
Because I was thinking about how if you have a friend come over and you have a healthy household, like, and they're coming from somewhere that's not really, it's a toxic place.
Yeah.
Then it just, it models what a good household looks like. It does, it might make them feel shitty. Like, I can't lie. Like, when I've been over friends' houses and, like, things aren't going great at home, but they're going great at my friend's house, then I feel shitty. Like, it's just like, oh, I can't my life by like this. But you can't compare your life to everyone else.
True.
It's more just
it's
taking
like,
that.
Who knows what happens when you leave?
Exactly.
It's not always like that.
But just taking, like, what you can as, like, a learning experience of seeing, like, okay, well, they did get really into this heated debate. But then, it's like they expressed things through, like, I statements instead of saying, like, you're wrong and blah, 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 blah. Like, I feel this and I saw this and I lived this. Like, I just feel like that is so much more productive than just saying, okay, kids, or, like, we're not going to talk about this until the kids leave dinner. And then just screaming in your bedroom when the kids are going to hear it anyways.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, like, that's kind of what the article says, too, though, is just, like, you deciding, okay, we're not going to do this in front of the kids, but then, like, you do it somewhere else and the kids still know that you're doing it.
Yeah.
It still affects the kids.
Yep.
Because they know that you're fighting.
I thought one thing that was really interesting, it talked about infants.
Oh, my God, I know. That, like, really fucked me up. Because
Yeah.
I was like, not the baby!
Talking about how, like, even when they're asleep, like, if you're their parents and
They
you're
can feel
fighting,
it.
they feel the fight. They
The
feel the
vibes, yeah,
conflict.
they feel
And
the
it can,
vibe.
like, it negatively affects them even if they're asleep. So it's insane. And, like, obviously we know that the audience that we go for with our podcast isn't, like, a bunch of parents. We don't know
Still,
where
like,
you're at in
little
life,
babies
but
are
still just
internalizing
knowing,
frustration
like,
and
in that,
anxiety and
oh,
depression
it's just,
and anger and
yeah.
angst.
And it's exactly what I said before.
The
The subconscious level of learning. Like, you're not aware of what you're doing, but somehow there is a, like, learning aspect to it, and it's insane.
Yeah.
Also,
Oh, the poor babies. Yeah.
so as I was saying, like, kids are constantly learning from their parents, and then they're going to use what they learn in the world.
Yo.
So they're going to go out into the world, and they're going to only see, if your parents are fighting all the time and they're constantly yelling at each other, then they're going to get in arguments with their friends, and they're going to start yelling, and then their friends aren't going to want to be their friends anymore. Like, it's like, it just shows, like, what you learn at home, what you use in the world, because that's all you know.
Right.
But I'm not saying every single, household just has screaming kids because their parents are screaming all the time or whatever, but
it
know,
also
it's
makes
just
me think, like, okay, there was a part of it where it was just like, don't do this in front of the kids and then come back and show them conflict resolution, which I'll get into after. But it's also like, I kind of feel like the kids at a certain age, obviously not in, like, super youth, but, like, they kind of need to see you when you're mad to understand that it's okay to express your emotions. Obviously to a certain level, which is when they talk about, like, the cutoff point where it's like, okay, now we really can't fight in front of the kids.
Yeah.
But it's like, they need to understand that they can express anger, Obviously, there are healthier ways to express anger, but sometimes you really need to just go off on someone so they can hear you and see how mad you are.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you just say, I'm going to shut off all my emotions in front of my kids so that they don't see me that I'm upset, then they're never going to learn that upset is an emotion.
Yeah.
Kind of like Inside Out. Like, if you just destroy your upset emotion, you're just like this bland, monotone person, and that's a whole part of you that still needs to exist.
Exactly.
And
even I was thinking about this with what's it called? Just one time I was fighting with one of my, or not fighting, but I was having a disagreement with one of my friends, and we were talking about how, like, our other friend and her boyfriend were, like, separating themselves and, like, not being a part of our friend group, and, like, how all of us saw it the same way of, like, oh, we can't believe, like, and we would, like, talk about them all the time, but we didn't see how what we were doing was making them want to be separate from us so much. So it was like we were just doing this toxic behavior that we weren't even conscious of. And so I was talking to my friend about it. I was just like, oh, I can't believe she doesn't hang out with us anymore. And then my friend was like, well, this is your fault. And I was just like, oh, shit. And then it was like, it took that moment of me having, like, all right, I got to be open-minded right here. Like, it's like, she's angry. She has a lot of feelings. And then I, like, talked with her, and she told me how our friend who was dating this guy that we didn't really approve of the relationship, like, she loves us and she misses us. And she talks to, she was talking to the friend who freaked out on me, saying, like, it's because we do this. Like, it's because we were, like, constantly complaining that, about the guy and about all this shit and about their relationship. And so until, like, we were able to see it and we were just like, okay, fuck it. We're just gonna, be good friends and accept this thing. And, it's like, even if we don't like him, we still love you and we'll learn to like him. It's like, it gets to a point of, like, you can't cut off that person, but it's like, is it worth losing an entire friend just because they're in a bad
Everything's
relationship?
like a constant negotiation.
Yeah.
But where I was going with my point was like, okay, so let's say you actually choose, okay, I'm never going to show anger in front of my child. What kind of person is that going to turn out to be? Like, literally, if me and this person who's never expressed anger or seen what it's like to express anger actually start talking, right? And then I'm mad at them. How are they going to react? Because they don't know how to be mad because they've never witnessed what anger is from their family internally.
Yeah.
Obviously, they'll probably see it in like television shows or whatever and then observe it from there because, you're a product of your environment. But, like, imagine if we were in a world where no one was ever angry. That'd be weird. Like, you would never be able to, like, protest because, like, no one would ever be angry. Like, how?
Yeah.
It's like weird, man. It's kind of like saying what is the world without war? And so I took this class my freshman year. It was like this 9/11 class, like historical perspectives on 9/11. One of the greatest classes I ever took before. And it was like a grad class my freshman year. I don't know why the hell I did that. But shout out to Professor Stephen Ortega, badass bitch. So we read this book that was called like War on Violence or something. And it was basically that whole concept, like how you need war to have peace. And without war, you'll never have peace. And I was like, whoa, this is some deep ass shit for my 19-year-old mind.
Damn.
And it makes you think like, okay, what if we just never fought? Like, life would be so boring.
It's true.
There would be, like, no evolving. You know what I mean? Because it would just be, like, there's no debating about certain topics or negotiating. It would just be, like, you just give up and then everybody's happy. Like,
and
what the hell?
everything just is.
Because not everybody's always happy. You need to collaborate.
Yeah.
And you need to, like, see different perspectives and understand that. Like, that's, like, kind of saying, like, okay, we're all just, like, this one thing. It's boring as hell.
Yeah.
But I'm not also saying, like, yeah, war, kill people, violence.
No.
Ugh! Like, obviously, I'm not saying that. But there is a balance on some Thanos shit. Hello.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yee.
Do you want to get back to this topic?
Yeah.
Sorry. So, yeah, there was that part about how, like, kids are going to have disagreements with their friends, their peers, their coworkers, etc., right? And if they don't witness how disagreements are handled in constructive ways, they're not going to be well equipped to go into the world and address inevitable conflict. Because conflict is always going to be arising. And then it talks about how increased emotional security comes with experiencing how to deal with conflict constructively. And honestly, I thought about that today because I experienced major conflict at work. Which I am not going to get into detail about. But, there are times where you're really at your wit's end and you're about to fucking explode.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to, for the sake of your job and security and sustainability and career, hold your shit together.
Yep.
So you don't explode. And there may be major conflict and attitude thrown at your face. And if you have emotional security, you don't get fired because you understand I need to take a deep breath, remember who this person is that I'm talking to because of the leverage they have on my life right now.
Oh, yeah.
And just remain calm and scream into a pillow later.
Yep. Because it's honestly at those points you have to be able to just moderate what your reaction really is and what you're doing in that moment. Like, because as stressed out as you are, this might just be showing like a boss, a coworker, or anyone, like when you get stressed out, you're not worth being around, which means you're not worth their time and they can cut you.
Easy, replaceable. You are always replaceable.
Irreplaceable.
Only Beyonce is irreplaceable. Hence the song.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Rip. So,
yeah.
I think that we did talk about like the cutoff point, but I do think that
bring it back because I feel like there was more about that.
There was like, so I think another important part about that is just kind of showing like boundaries, and because this article even talked about how your parents shouldn't fight about how to discipline a child in front of the child. And that's
a big thing.
That was so big, because when you're sitting there and you're the kid and then it's just like no Xbox for a month. Oh, no Xbox. Well, what about this? Well, oh, you're grounded for 3 weeks, but he has this, and you know, it's just like, it's as the child, I remember sitting there and like having all this like dispute of what's gonna go wrong in my life and just having a panic attack while it's happening.
True.
And then it's just like, if you're their parents, you can go out in another room, have a conversation. You can freak out in another room. The kid doesn't have to hear it. And then you can come in as a united front and say, hey, we decided this. This is what happened. This is the consequence. That's life.
But even as like someone, you and I, you know, we work with kids sometimes. And when we do that, like, you hear the kids talk to each other and be like, oh, your mom only grounds you for like that, and like, this is what my parents do to me or whatever, right? And they're just like doing the oppression Olympics of who has it worse. I just remember when we used to work at the Box Center, and or I mean, this might have been before, because you and I never worked there at the same time, but we would be in meetings, and the number one thing that I took away from that is super key to like being an educator or just like working with children in general or teens or whoever you're working with, in which you're an authoritative figure, and there's somebody under you, whatever, is that if you're on a team, you and that team are a united front. Like, you are one. You all have to be on the same page. And it's like, not only do you have to be on the same page of what you're going to do in response to the people that are reporting to you, but you have to be on the same page internally with the bullshit that's going on between your team. Like, you cannot ever question each other in front of the people who are under you,
because then that makes them
then
question
they're like,
you.
oh, word,
Yep.
we gonna like Julius Caesar your ass, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny how like all of that is correlating, you know, within the family, within the workplace, like it's all relevant.
So it's always just important to remember, you know, a lot of self-awareness, boundaries, and it's very interchangeable, but there's still the theme of working as a team as a united front. Like, it's even huge. You reminded me, there was this, I was thinking about this the other day, like me and my co-RA, when I was an RA at UNH, we were hosting a social once, and it was going really, really late, and we were playing some game, and then she started like letting one team like just rack up points so that they would win, because we all knew they were going to win. But I got really bitter, and I started just like making really bitchy comments, like, you know, just being like, oh, this is really fucking happening. And like, it was bitching about what we were doing in front of all of our residents. And so this was the middle of the year. Like, you know, it's like, I didn't see what I was doing, but it was so fucking horrible. And then afterwards, then like, basically I got kicked out of my own social, and then I met with my hall director, and I was just like, yeah, I apologized to her, like, you know, like the same night, like, you know, it was just like, I can't believe that I did that, like, that was fucking horrible, I really fucked up. And it's just it's that awareness, like, you know, it's like you just fall into these tendencies of like feeling like you are right in every situation, but it's always important to be able to take a step back.
Yeah, I mean, just that level of humbleness, right?
Yeah.
Or just like stepping in or realizing in the moment, oh, wow, I'm being obnoxious right now.
Yeah, and it's like, I could have just talked with her afterwards and been like, I know that that's what you wanted to do, but that's not what I wanted. You know, it's like just saying like, this is what I saw, this is what I feel, instead of like, oh, well, you're being like this, oh, well, this is what's happening because of you. Like, you know, it's just back to what I said before, like, it's always better to start an I statement than a you. Like,
because like once you say you,
it's blaming.
You're just projecting and saying how you really feel. But also, like, that's not how you really feel. No. That's just because you're mad.
Yeah, that's how you feel in that moment. But that moment's going to end. Like, you know, it's like, you just got to be able to see the future when you're living in those shitty paths. Or when you're
in that moment and somebody else is in that moment. And then you say, maybe you don't want to say this shit right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the best time for us to be having this conversation.
Yeah.
Let's stop.
Yep.
And then you stop. But they don't stop. And you're like, oh, you're not going to stop? Bad.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you're smart, you'll just let them say all that horrible shit.
And you'll stop.
And you'll stop. And then tomorrow or whenever you decide to speak again, they'll hopefully apologize
Yep.
and realize they said a bunch of horrible shit.
Yeah.
And then you can hold that ammo on them for life. And just be like, oh, remember when you said this horrible fucking thing to me? Yeah, it still hurts, bitch. Yeah, it'd be like that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I was going to say, like, you and I get in fights all the time.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Like,
but, like, we still friends.
yeah, like, we're able to just
we got
fucking
into a
mediate
huge fight,
it.
like, last week.
Last week, yep.
I don't remember what it was about, but whatever. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, we would just, yeah. I think we would just stress the fuck out.
We were just mad.
And, like, that's another part of it, where,
Yeah.
like, you don't know everything that someone's going through, even if they're your best friend. Like,
Facts.
there can always be
Facts.
more to their life that's giving them stress, that's just, you know, that it's getting pushed out of them in some fucking way, and then they're gonna push it onto you if you push them. Like, you know, it's like if you poke the fucking bear and then the bear's just like hibernating and knocked out, obviously the bear's not gonna do shit. But when the bear's fucking grandmother fell down the stairs, maybe the bear gives a shit and might maul you. So, like, don't poke the bear, guys. Like,
That's a good one. I want to go back to this one thing that the article mentioned that you brought up earlier about how even when infants are asleep, that fighting can impact them. And then it made me think about, like, you know when, like, ladies are pregnant and they play, like, Baby Mozart on their phones? And I was like, or, like, when, I don't know, I think they do this on, like, TV shows. Like, when people are pregnant and they're just like, don't make me mad, the baby's gonna be mad. Or, like, whatever.
Yep.
Like, I guess that's real, right?
Yeah.
So, like, really don't try to get your pregnant mamas mad, because then that baby's gonna be, like,
okay,
feisty.
because the baby, and then the mama has a bunch of fucking hormones. Like, you know,
yeah,
it's just
exactly.
like,
She going through enough. Let her be. She
nigga.
creating a whole ass life.
Exactly.
A whole being.
Holy
She has
fuck.
a parasite in her belly.
Parasite.
Yo, that's really what they are. You're a host and there's a parasite in there and it's
Damn.
eating all your nutrients and your food.
Wow.
How would you feel if you ate a cheeseburger and something inside you ate it for you and you're just like,
scared.
I didn't even eat it.
How did we get here? I'm scared.
This is what pregnancy
I don't want to
is.
eat cheeseburgers
I wouldn't know.
anymore.
I've never been pregnant. I'm not trying to do that right now. Give me some time. Just not now.
I remember I used to say I was pregnant all the time.
All the time.
All
You'd
the
be like,
time.
"Yo,
I was
I'm
pregnant for like
like,
9 years.
I'm at like 9 months.
Yeah.
Like 10 years.
It'd be like triplets. So I need 9 months for each of them. Like,
Not I. Baby.
nah. Batman.
But yeah, trying to read through these little notey notes.
I thought one situation that we brought up before that I found myself in multiple times is when you're at a friend's house and shit starts blowing up, and it's usually like either the friend and their parent or like the friend and their sibling. Like, I never really am at a friend's house and there's drama between like their sibling and their parent. Like, you know, it's usually your friend that's has some shit going on, and it's like fucking shit. Like, but yeah, no, I think it's more awkward when you have a relationship with the family. Like, because if you're just kind of there and you've never really met the family and there's a fight, you can just assume like, well, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm just here. Maybe I'll leave. Like, you know, it's just like...
Or, like, I don't know, like, sometimes it's like when you're with your significant other, that is significantly worse. Because, or, I mean, like, it could be like your best friend and significant other on the same level, you know? Because it's like, y'all, like, know each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, you obviously are good with their family. So, like, if let's say if it was, like, your best friend, right? Or, like, your best friend that you, like, grew up with, right? So, like, you really know their family. So you're basically their child. And... like, they get into a huge fight in front of you, and then you're just like, ah, shit, now I'm in this. Like, how the fuck do I get out of this? You know what I mean? Or, like, I gotta sit the shit out and just, like, watch them get dragged. Because you know you ain't gonna say anything.
Oh, fuck no.
If you say something, you are a savage.
Oh, you gotta be
you're putting yourself
ready.
on the line, because they're gonna drag you, too.
I think what's worst is, and I had this, like, written down, when you agree with the parent.
Yeah, so awkward.
Oh, my God.
Because you're just like, yeah, you ain't shit, bitch.
Yeah, and you're just like, you can't say it. Like, you know for the rest of the night, you cannot
but
say
you,
that
like,
to
low-key
them.
want to fist bump the parent.
Oh, yeah,
and be
the
like,
whole...
yo, you're so fucking
like,
right.
oh,
like,
fucking
they suck.
Jesus Christ, thank you, someone said it. Like, you know,
Yeah,
it's just
you're
like...
I can't say it.
And then, like, maybe the next day they'll be like, yeah, blah, 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 they were being a bitch. And it's like, actually...
But then, yeah, exactly. Then it's up to you to be like, well, they're kind of right.
Maybe you shouldn't have done that,
Yeah.
motherfucker. But
yeah, I mean, and, like, there have definitely been situations where, like, I think it might be worse when it's, like, your significant other, because then you're like, I gotta, like, be good ties with the in-laws.
Because you want that good relationship with the family. Like, if it's your best friend, then you can be like,
but then you
all right.
also, for your significant other, have to be like, you're my day one.
Yeah.
So I have to actually stand by your side. But if they're wrong, they're wrong. And you gotta let them know they're fucking wrong, man.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if they're fucking wrong, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Even if you're the only person they confide in, whatever, they need friends. But, like, even their friends should know that they're wrong and be there for them, but also tell them, look, you're not right.
Well, you don't have to agree with everything, your
have
significant other just because you're, they're your significant
you should be like,
other.
I'm here for you right now, but also, like, you're not right.
Yeah.
If they're wrong.
Totally.
And if they're right, stand by them, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's different if, like, the parents are actually just forcing it. Yeah. And they're, like, not in the wrong.
Because I've been there.
You know more context from that person's side versus their family, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's honestly, it's up to you. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if it was me, I would be like, okay, like, I'm not going to get in the middle of this and negotiate between, like, you and your family, but I'm going to, like, say my 2 cents to you because you're the person I'm obligated to. Whereas, like, I'm not obligated to your family. Like, you're my other half, right?
Have you ever had, like, a parent try to drag you into the conversation?
Huh? Say that again?
Have you ever had, like, a parent try to drag you into the conversation?
Always.
I never fucking butt in. I'm always just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like,
like, we're not fucking doing this today.
I only say hi and bye when I come in and out of
your
your house.
Yeah, it was like, we came out for some popcorn. What the fuck, Mary? Facts. Like, it's like, oh.
Next, be like, can I call my mom now?
Yeah, it's just like, I think my Uber's here. I rode my bike here, but it's an Uber.
Hopefully y'all will be done when I'm done. Or, you know what's worse?
What?
When, like, they'll come to the room that y'all are in and then be like, hey, can we talk in the other room? And then you're like, shit, I know you're about to get fucking dragged right now,
Yep.
Or they're like, fuck it, we're doing this in front of you. And you're just like, damn.
Yep. Or when there's, like, when you're going to your friend's house and you don't know there's drama.
Oh, yes.
And then you get there and you find out there's a fuck ton of drama. And you're just like, really? We had to come here? Like, it's like there's drama at your house? Yeah, I have a fucking house. Like, But,
people are crazy.
Yeah. I guess people just, they think they're invincible. And
or they like to keep it interesting.
Yeah, it's fucking spill the tea on me, bitch. I just came here to hang, but whatever.
Yeah. Man. But yeah, the topic that we brought out earlier that I said I would come back to. In the article, it said one of the greatest skills parents can offer their children is conflict resolution. That helps kids in their future relationships. This was brought to you by... co-director of Early Childhood Clinical Service at the Child Study Center at NYU. I can't say that word, medical center. Can you say that word?
Langone.
Lagone? Whatever.
Langon.
Like, the reason why I thought this was a really important point was because it made me think of This Is Us. And literally that show is like the show that like shows how families get into huge fights that are like crazy. But also like from when they're in youth and as adults and how it's timeless at no matter if it's in the 70s or if it's 2019, like it just shows you like no matter what, families are going to go through shit. And like even if it's something small or if it's something super dramatic, they always show you how they go through this like resolution part, but in a healthy, realistic way. Like it's not like when you watch like a 30-minute show and it's like, here's the problem at the beginning of the show. Everybody's happy now. Nah, everybody's not always happy at the end of This Is Us. Shit's always going on.
Oh my God,
but like in the realest way possible. Like it's like things that people actually go through that are realistic, and sometimes you just can't do anything about it.
Yep.
Right? Or like, there's always the agree to disagree, but then there's always like this lingering, not everything's going to be perfect all the time, and you just kind of have to deal with it. But they also give people examples of what is a healthy way to have an argument or a disagreement or a fight, or like what happens when shit escalates to a point that's really uncomfortable and how to come back from that as parents and as siblings and as lovers and just as a whole unit, period. Or even with your friends, like on that show. They do a really good job, like every episode, which is why I think everybody always cries, like every episode, because it's just so, first of all, so well written.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just real. It's just real. You know?
Oh yeah, dude.
You've watched it, right?
Yeah, I haven't watched as much as you and Mom and Dad. But like, oh my god, you guys would love that show.
I'm actually 100% caught up. They're so behind. I'm so happy I finally caught up.
Wow.
Yeah. You need to get caught up. Those are
I
so good.
I know. But anytime I watch that show, I'm always like hurt. Like there's always something that fucking stabs my heart, and then I just bleed out. And then there's like another part where I'm just like, okay, I can sew this shit back up. It's okay. It'll beat.
Like
and then you're
minutes,
just like,
right?
everything's wrong. But it's such a good fucking show, and it, as Azeb said, it's real as fuck.
It's
like
just so good.
And they show
good.
it's so
there's
real.
So many
like,
dynamics. And then like there's parts when you're watching it and you're just like, so are they going to address that or not? And then they address it right when you're thinking that, and you're just like, yes, this is good writing. Sorry, I'm yelling. It's just really good show.
Yeah,
God,
it is.
Watch it.
Fuck.
Figure it out. Find a way. So there's a point in the article where they talk about how a proportion of fighting to the proportion of affectionate talk can be where the issue lies of how people are in marital relationships and how people are just like how they show affection, you know, right? Like, would you ever think about like, I mean, we can get into this another day about like how people choose to show affection. Like, for example, we're not going to get in too deep about this because I feel like this would be a good topic for another day.
Yeah.
But, you know, like when you're young, and I think I learned this from like Hey Arnold, when like Helga was like super mean to Arnold, and like that was her way of showing affection, was like anger and aggression. And then when you saw her home life, her dad was like an alcoholic that just ate pork rinds and watched TV, and like her mom was like never around, and so like she was always like neglected, so her way of showing affection was always like anger and abuse. Yeah. Because she's never been given affection. Oh, yeah. So it just shows you, like, that level of... And it's funny how, like, that's Hey Arnold.
I know.
That's shit we
Prime
watched when
90s
we were, like, 7.
fucking shows.
You know? But also, like... I remember that now, and I'm 24.
Oh, yeah.
And that was an episode I watched, like...
The first day of kindergarten episode, that episode is iconic. Like, when so 5-year-old fucking Helga has to walk herself in the rain to kindergarten.
So
like,
it shows you, like, that what he's saying in this article is 100% true. I mean, even though it's a cartoon. Yeah. It's still relevant because we felt that, right? Yeah. And it just shows you, like, okay, so this girl had, like, more, like, 5% affection, like 95% abuse or anger / fighting,
neglect, all that
in her life, right? So that's why when she sees Arnold, she's always like punching him or just like verbally mean to him, and like that's her way of like getting his attention, right? And he's just like, the fuck is this shit? He's like, why is Helga always so mean, right? Yeah. And even as a girl, like, that's some shit you pick up. You're like, oh, okay, if I'm mean to him, then like he'll think that I like him. Yeah. Right? And that's just like some shit everybody knows.
Well,
like,
it's because you're getting their attention, and then you like the attention, so you're like, oh, I'm going to keep getting his attention like this. Yeah. But it's like, you don't see, you know, well, you might not even fucking care if you're annoying to them as long as you keep getting what you want. Yeah. It's that response. Like, you know, as long as you get something out of someone. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I love that you brought Hey Arnold into this.
I didn't even think I was going to go there, honestly. That was my first example. I was just like, Helga, my girl. No, but I always think about like how there's that guy that breathes down her neck and she always like throws her arms up and punches him in the face. That's like, that was always my favorite part.
But even with Hey Arnold, like, he wasn't a traditional family. Like, he lived with, his grandparents, and then, like, that Asian guy, and...
Yeah, he lived in a boarding house.
Yeah.
He, like...
It was a boarding house?
Yeah, it was a boarding house.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. They said it, like, every episode.
Dude, I was...
He had a cool room, though. He had a super cool room.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot from my childhood.
He definitely lived in New York, though. It was definitely New York.
He had a kilt.
Yeah, he was cool as hell.
Yeah.
He's so like,
but he had a lot of love, like, you know, and he was so self-confident, like, you know, it's like, so cool. And there was so many good.
Dead. He's a cartoon, but yeah. Arnold.
Yeah, but Nick at Night is not Nick at Night anymore.
Yeah, if you don't know this show, you're too young.
Yeah, facts.
Look it up. Damn, that's just gonna be like vintage to these kids nowadays. Ew.
I know. I saw that meme that was like 90s kids are almost turning 30, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I'm not dead. You're not dead when you turn 30, but you like low-key are. Sorry. Okay, oh, God. But yeah, so there was this other quote that I pulled out of the article that had something to do with this. Basically, it said like, somebody was interviewed, and they were talking about how like, even if I'm a little upset, I want the kids to know I still love your mom and I'm not going anywhere. So it's like, even if the kids do see you fighting, right? You have to show them after you're done fighting the makeup, which obviously not the graphic makeup, but just the whole, hey, y'all, me and mom or me and dad got into a fight, but we're cool now. And, like, you know, hug it out in front of them. Hold their hand, give them a kiss, whatever the fuck. Just to show them, like, yeah, we can go through some shit, but we're still going to be here for each other, and we're going to figure it out.
Because kids don't know that. Like, when it's happening, they go in extreme survival panic mode.
It's do or die.
Yeah. They literally might think they'll die. Like, I remember when I saw that part in the article talking about body language. And it showed, like, about extreme panic. Like, if you see your kid just freeze. True. Like, you know, it's like, that's just, it's the survival mode. Like, you know, it's like freeze, flee, or fight, or whatever. And so it's like, if they freeze, it means they're stuck. They don't know how to get it in or out of this situation, and they think they're gonna fucking die. Like, it's just, it's horrible. You feel absolutely powerless, like, and you know there's just a bunch of negative energy coming into you, and you're just like,
you can't do anything about, because you're just around it.
You can't even move. Like, it's paralyzing.
But that transitions into my next point, which was what the article said about parents need timeouts too. And it made me think about, like, when we were, like, maybe, like, 5 or 6, and we used to live in apartment 6, and mom and dad were having this huge fight, and we were just like, yo, we gotta get this shit over with. We're done with this. And, like, I took mom and you took dad, and you, like, put dad in his room and I put mom in our room, and we're just like, y'all niggas need a timeout because this is a lot. And, like, they just started laughing because they were like, look at our, like, 5 and 6 year old, like, telling us we need a timeout. And we left them in there. We locked the door for, like, maybe, like, 10 minutes, and they were just like, wow, like, our kids really put us in timeout. And then we were like, all right, you can come out now. And they came out and they were just like, all right, you guys, whatever, we're good. But, like, still, like, you could tell, like, even us were just like, you need to get away from each other. Like, we were the cutoff point for them in that moment. You know, I don't know if they remember that, but, like, I remember that. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember going in and, like, separating them a bunch of times, but, like, I don't remember that one specific moment.
Well, I remember that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's just what happens when you're fucking married for so long. Like, you know, it's like, you are two human beings that are together forever. Like, yeah, you're gonna drive each other fucking wild. So, our last topic is going to be about the different kinds of punishments that parents do have for their children. I remember the iconic punishment of our Ethiopian heritage would be you going into a corner and you getting on your knees and putting your arms over your head. I remember sometimes if you were really bad, they would put, like, a Bible in your arms so that it was, like, heavier.
They would put something hard under your knees so it would suck even more. But the thing is, like, I didn't really experience that often because I wasn't really a bad kid. You were definitely way worse than I was.
Okay,
but I feel like Abi experienced it the most.
Because
he really didn't have to do much. Membi would just be like,
because there were 2 Ethiopian parents, so it was just as
bad
strict.
Sometimes, but he wasn't that bad, you know.
Oh, but Abi,
he definitely pulled some shit sometimes.
He would do some shit, but, like,
and he, like, knew it, but it was, like, really.
But
really
he would, like,
funny.
I don't know, like, we'd be in the living room and we'd be just, like, talking, and then I'd say, like, bitch once, and then he'd say bitch, and then they'd be like, Abi, are you swearing? And it's like, oh fuck, and then I'm like, I did this, and then Abi, like, gets hot sauce or, like, some shit, and we're just like,
God,
oh my god,
hot sauce.
Yeah.
Hot sauce.
Remember hot sauce was the punishment?
Really, I remember, like, we'd be at, like, Abi's house, and then, like, out of nowhere, you would just, like, come back in the room, and I'd be in the corner, and with his arms out, like, horizontally, and his knees down, and he'd just be crying. I'd be like, why? And then, like, we would just be like, well, this is awkward. We're gonna watch CNN with Bissum. But I remember, like, me and you would be in the car with mom, and mom would be talking, and we would totally not be listening. And mom would be like, repeat everything I just said. And we'd be like, fuck.
Then she'd be like, am I talking to a rock? And it's
and
like,
be like,
oh,
Mom,
fuck.
I'm like, this is a lot right now. Like, we just got out of school. Like, we're tired.
Exactly.
And then, like, I don't even know. She would, like, turn around and just, like, grab our lip and pinch it. And we'd be like, ah!
Oh, my God. Do you remember?
That shit was way more painful than ever getting, like, actually hit.
Yeah.
Like, getting your lip pinched.
I remember Dad would, like, I don't know. Dad would, like,
just, like, headlock you with his legs.
It's true. But I remember he would like scare us like he was going to hit us. But
just,
even if he would hit us, it wouldn't be hard. Like it would just kind of be like
maybe once. I only got hit once.
Oh, I was a piece of shit. Like, you did, yeah, I
but
definitely.
the one time I got hit, I remember Dad was like telling me the other day, he was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, you totally didn't deserve that.
I would egg Dad on though.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I remember
No,
I was
you
in the
were
back
fucking
seat and I was
horrible.
like I kept like popping my head up and like I think I was hitting Dad or something and he was just like,
because you were an
if you keep,
asshole.
yeah, I was a dick. And Dad was like, if you keep fucking popping your head up, I'm gonna hit you. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I like popped it up and he missed and I was like, ha ha, you missed.
We used to
and then I got
almost get into
fucking
like
hit.
car
So I was
accidents. He would like turn around and you'd be
because
like,
I'd grab his ears. Like
you
some
were so
shit.
annoying. Yeah. No, I remember like
shit.
there was this one time where like we were just in the car and like I don't know, I was probably being annoying and he was probably just stressed out and I was just like whatever. And then he like hit me and then I was like, did you just hit me? It was like a moment in our relationship as like father and daughter and we just looked at each other and I could see how like sad he was in that moment of like, shit, I just hit Azeb. And then I just looked at him like, my nigga, you hit me. Like this is the first time you've ever hit me.
Shit.
But it was like when I was, I don't know, it was probably like 9. But I was okay, obviously.
Yeah.
I was just, it was more the shock of like, oh my God, this has happened.
Yeah. I mean, even like, I remember Mom would like, she'd grab my wrist, and if she was really mad, she would
yeah.
like slap my hand.
Yeah.
But that is the worst that Mom would do. It was like that facial expression though, like of her just
that's just way
absolute
worse.
like anger
That
or
I'm
disappointment.
disappointed.
Yeah, it's just like, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
and you're
oh
like, no,
fuck, why did I do
it's
this?
over.
Like it was just like, yeah,
Like, I'll never be able to see my friends
no,
again.
Yeah. Oh, I remember she would get smart with punishing me. Like she
yeah.
would
She
would
was
see
really good at it.
Yeah, because she would see I'd be playing my like I'd get a new gaming system and she'd take that away and I'd be like, Mom, can I have the PSP back? Like I'll give you the Game Boy or I'll give you the GameCube to try to like think like I'll be smarter than her.
Right.
And she's like, well,
she's
you
a
can
whole
have
adult.
this back, but I'm gonna take the SD card. And I'm like, how do you even know what an SD card is? Like fuck.
Nah, man.
And I'm like, well, I can't even save. So then I'd be like, oh well, now I have to spend money on an SD card, or I could just be good. Like
I guess. Or remember when like Mom used to make us read?
there
Like,
were
she would
no
be like,
books. We did not have books.
No, we
would
did
have to read,
books, but we didn't have
No.
books we wanted to read.
Yeah, that's
So
what
that
I'm
was
saying.
our
We had to
punishment.
read the same
She would be
thing
like,
over and over.
you know what? You guys have to read. And we'd be like, no! That might be the reason why we hate to read.
Yeah.
Because she was like, reading is your punishment.
Yeah. Or do you remember the dark room?
Yo, shout out to the dark room.
Honestly,
That was the
okay.
bathroom.
Okay, it was literally just the bathroom
room was
with the
lit,
lights
though.
off. And like we used to have the lights so in our apartment
You really just took me back to
I
a
know,
time.
the dark room.
Like, we just went back.
Because any room could be
15
the dark
years.
room, but the bathroom was the best because there was no window.
Yeah. It
But
was
in our
only the
apartment in
bathroom.
number, like, apartment 6 back in Everett, because we moved up to the 7th apartment because it had, like, 3 bedrooms instead of 2 when Azeb and I
But it
got
made
older.
more sense in apartment 7 because the lights were on the outside.
They were on the outside.
Yeah, apartment
but we were
6.
older by that point, so if they
Yeah,
threw us
and
in the dark
we'd
room,
be
we
like,
weren't
okay,
afraid.
and
Like,
my
we were just
phone
kind of
out.
like, all right, it's fucking dark. Like, but
Crack it open.
in number 6, we had the lights inside the bathroom, so Mom would like shut the lights off and like lock you, me, and Abby
yeah,
in
yeah.
there,
That was
and
fun,
we'd just
though.
be like talking, and
We
then
would
they'd be
have
like,
so much fun.
"No talking in the dark room," and then like we'd turn the lights on, and then they'd
lights on!
we shut them off. They're like, "We can see you turn them off." We're like, "Well, you're not in here with us."
You put us in the
It's just like fuck, like it's not so dark room now.
Who
Like,
came up with that? Like, genius.
what the fuck? No.
But also, like, I remember when people would babysit us, and they would be like, go in the dark room. And we'd be like, how do you know about the dark room? Like, we were just like, who told you? We were like, we
my
thought
God.
this was just a mom thing.
Yeah. Oh. Because everyone else is getting grounded, but we're getting the fucking dark room. Like,
Oh, God.
we never really got grounded.
I used
grounded.
to wash my hands in the dark room. 'Cause I'd be like, I know where the sink is. I can figure this out.
Oh,
I'm like, well, I might as well like get hygiene while I'm in the bathroom and the lights are off. My fucking 10-year-old ass.
But I used to be
Oh,
really
God.
afraid of the dark.
No, because like
I-
that's just scary. I used to
Yeah.
have a nightlight. You remember that?
You did?
Hell yeah! Ask Nani about it.
Oh,
remember that
I do.
shit?
I do
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, no, I just remember I would leave the closet and the TV on.
Always.
And I was
Yeah, not anymore.
the
I'm good
worst.
at it now.
I've gotten so much better since
I, like,
college.
actually turn all my
No,
lights
but in
off.
high school, all throughout high school,
Yeah.
I would fall asleep with the TV. I mean,
think I
my
took the
room was
TV
also
out of my
possessed
room
back
in
in
high school.
Everett, but
Yeah.
yeah. I remember when I was a kid
Yeah.
growing up, like I would scream
Oh,
like
yeah.
in the middle of the night all the fucking time because I'd
yeah.
be like, Dad!
Dude, you used to scare me. I'd be like, is there a person? And then I was like, nah,
It was
whatever.
literally never
But
fucking
your
anything.
room was also haunted.
It was.
Yeah.
Like, if I woke up from a fucking nightmare where
Yeah, I knew
all
it
that
was like a
shit,
ghost.
then that was bad. But if it was like 10 at night, then it'd just be like there was a ball of yarn in my closet and I thought it was like hair and then I think it's a demon and then
No,
it's just
same.
the spiral.
It'd still be
So,
like that.
Yeah. Although I've just kind of gotten to a point of life of like, if the demon's going to kill me, I don't have supernatural powers.
No, but
so like, I'm
you
fucked.
also had that giant cross
Oh, I used to
that
sleep with a
you
huge
held in your
cross.
hand under your pillow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, in apartment 7, I used to have really good lighting in my room at night, like the moonlight would shine in. Oh god,
Yeah.
I love that room. Rest in
When
peace.
I got your room, it was really nice.
Such a great room. I
Yeah.
know, right? Good times.
Mhm.
And now I have like no lighting in my room, or like it's just rough because my window sucks. But like, yeah, you know what I mean. Like before I
Yeah.
go to bed, I'm just like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna be an adult. Like, I'm in
Yeah.
the dark, and we're gonna be fine. But also, where did this fear of being in the dark come from? And like, what is up with that? I don't know.
I think it's just the fear of not being able to see what's coming.
True.
Because-
and that like you're just instilled since that like you're born that like darkness is bad.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Even though that's all you see for the first 9 months of existence.
Yeah.
But
it's funny how like, I was thinking about this. This is really going to be the last thing, I promise. But like I was thinking about how like the way you get punished from your parents versus your grandparents are so different.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, other than the whole like concept of like they grew up in a time where you could actually beat your kids. And I will never forget there was a time period where I used to tell mom and dad you should beat Simon because you were fucking bad. But also
Yeah.
like you know that.
Yeah.
And you were probably like, yeah, I should get beat for all this shit that I'm doing.
Honestly, I didn't think I deserved to get beat.
I did.
I just thought that they could get way more creative than
Oh, true,
the
true.
fucking dark room.
True.
Like, you know, it's just like, guys, there's so much more you can do.
No, but they used to
Like,
come to me and be like, Azeb, I don't know what to do. He's bigger than us now. And I'd be like, well, you can always hit him. I'd be like, honestly, it's an option.
Yeah,
And
but
they'd
I
go,
was dramatic
"You
as
can't."
fuck. Like, I would be like,
No, I know.
you hit me, I'm telling chat
No, right, they're probably like, that's not gonna work,
and
whatever.
like all that bullshit and drama.
But yeah, my other thought. Oh yeah, so grandparents, right?
Ah.
I was thinking about like how when we were like little, that like we heard about other people who were our age getting like beat and how we never really got beat.
Yeah.
And then like Papa used to like spank us with like that giant spoon, but like we used to laugh because it was funny. And it didn't really hurt.
No, it didn't hurt.
Yeah, it was like more of a joke than
Yeah.
actually. But then like Nani, if she was ever actually mad at you, like you remember, like I remember this one time we were like whispering, and she was like, "No secrets in this house. You can't whisper. What'd you say?" And then make you say it out loud. And I was like, "Damn, man, we were talking mad shit. Like we can't say what we were actually saying." Oh man, that's significantly worse.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, the mental shit is way worse than the physical shit. 'Cause
Honestly.
you can get over the physical shit.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it depends on the person.
mean,
But like,
Yeah.
the mental shit is there, and you're like, god damn it, I have to go through this experience right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, because you're not really getting hit too often, but like someone saying, you know, like just that little like I don't know, especially when someone knows you that well, the mind games that they can play with
for
you,
real.
like
because they know you.
yeah,
They
like
know you.
ooh.
But yeah, all right. So we're gonna slide into our key takeaways. We really hope that you enjoyed that segment and some of those tangents. I thought that was pretty good. How'd you feel? about it? Yeah, I thought it was solid. So as like a bystander, you know, just know how to read the room. Some things that we have are just like use humor maybe if you feel like it's appropriate to redirect the conversation, and then maybe the people will fight when you leave. Or make up some kind of an excuse that you feel is right to get out of that situation. But also, like, if you feel like it is actually life-threatening to whoever is around you in which the situation you're in, really consider your options before you say, let me call the cops. Because you never know what's going to happen if you decide to get the cops involved.
Yep.
It might not always be the best situation, and you might not end up still being friends with that person if you fuck up their whole family life.
You never know.
By calling the cops. And we're not saying calling the cops are a bad thing,
No.
but we're just saying there's a lot more shit that comes with when you make that decision.
Yeah.
to get them involved.
Because it brings a lot of power to the situation that you don't know if you can control.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying before, you never really know what's going on in your friend's life. If there's a lot of drama between their family, if there's a lot of shit going on just kind of in their world, but there's a lot of really sad shit in the world, so always check in on your friends. Even if you have fights with each other, you never know if they're going through shit and they're just lashing out at you because they just can't handle it anymore. You never know any kind of situation which is going on until you actually ask. So really check in on your friends. I know what it's like to be the strong friend and, just to always put up that smile and that front, and it's not healthy. It's if you are the strong friend, then try to be a bit more vulnerable with the people that
and that's
you
learned
love.
behavior too.
Yeah, because you have to expose yourself for you to learn how to do it and what the benefits really are from doing it, and how you're not alone in all these situations. You don't always have to be the strongest fucking person on earth. Sometimes shit really sucks and it hurts and you can feel it. And these friends that have been depending on you can depend on them. And if you can't, really take a good look at what your friend group looks like. Because
reevaluating friendships is real.
Because as much as
the standards don't have to be so low.
Yeah, because as much as it sucks to make new friends and to put in all that effort into a relationship for it to just be thrown away, then it's not worth it if you're not getting the same thing reciprocated back to you.
Amen. But for real, if your friends aren't hitting you up saying, "Hey, how are you?" That's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And you should really reconsider if those people should be in your life. You should really understand in your head, okay, this person is the person I can go to for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the person I can depend on for this thing.
Yeah.
This is not the person I'm going to dump all my shit on or look to for some kind of sympathy or empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And just being aware of that, instead of trying to get that relationship out of someone who's not really emotionally there,
just knowing where your outlets are.
Exactly. Just being aware
because somebody
of that.
can't be there for you doesn't mean that they can't be your friend.
Yeah.
But it's just
they can't connect on that emotional
level. You have
level.
to know who are the people that can connect with you that way, so that you can feel that fulfilledness.
Yeah. What you were saying before of really taking a look at who they are, what they mean to you, what their friendship is, what you're getting out of the relationship and what you're putting into it. Because if you're always there for that person, if you're always the first person to text, that's usually
exhausting.
my way of being, okay, I'm going to give a bit of space to this relationship. And if they don't text me, then I'm the one that wanted this relationship. They didn't fucking want my friendship. And that's how I see it until they show me, hey, I do want to be your friend. And it's oh shit, cool. Because I did miss being fucking friends with you, but I didn't think you appreciated it.
Or maybe they needed time to actually grow on their own and figure out how to be a person and how to actually treat people.
Oh, I love when my friends actually grow and then they show
you did
that
that
they grow.
Me? Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just,
And then you're wow, welcome back to my life.
Especially people that you've been friends with since high school.
Yeah, man.
Or
middle school.
That's the fucking worst time that you exist. You are literally the worst version of yourself in fucking high school. And then you figure out all these horrible things that you've been doing to people, and then you're like, oh shit, there's a lot of people I haven't fucking talked to since I was a piece of shit. And then you're like, damn, this isn't worth rekindling. But it's worth rekindling, guys, if you're worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real. But there is a point in here that you wrote that was no, actually you said this earlier about being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Just being open, when people do actually hit you with that "how are you" text or call.
Mm-hmm.
And you choosing to say, I'm actually not okay.
Yep.
If you're not. I mean, if you are, obviously, hell yeah, go about that and say that. But for the most part, if you really feel hey, man, look, I'm really not good right now, and I can't really talk right now about it because it's a lot. I just need someone to actually kind of be hey, this sucks, and agree with me. Can you just give me that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's all you need.
It's just good communication.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also just hearing how you want to be treated. Not treat others how, whatever the golden rule is.
Yeah.
Treat others how,
you want to be treated.
No, treat others how they want to be treated. And it took me a long time to realize, what that actually meant. Because I was what does that mean? How do people, what do you mean treat others how they want to be treated? And I'm if I was in a situation, I would want to be treated how I want to be treated. And that person would want to be treated how they want to be treated.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you.
Because it's about empathizing instead of sympathizing.
Yes,
and
exactly.
if you don't know the difference, sympathy is when you see someone fucking fall down and then you go, wow, that fucking sucks. and you just kind of say the situation. Empathizing is being like, oh my God, wow, that looks painful. Fuck, your leg's bleeding. Like, to feel it with them, like to be in that situation.
Agree, man.
Yeah, and instead of just like looking at the situation and seeing for what it is, it's being there with them, because that's what someone really wants when
they're in pain. Or to even be on the worst side of that and just being like, oh, you're fine. It's like, this person just told you they're not fucking okay.
Yep.
Don't dismiss them.
Yeah. Because they're human.
Yeah.
Everybody is human, guys. We are all fucking human. We all got feelings. We all got shit that we don't want to fucking deal with, but we got to. So be there for your fucking friends.
Be there for your friends. Just be a good friend. That's it.
They love you.
That's
Even if they don't say it, they love you. And you love them.
Just say. Also, we all just need
say
to
that
hug
shit.
each other more.
Fuck.
Say I love you.
Seriously.
Way more.
Love your fucking
like, if you
friends.
actually love someone, just say I love you. You know what I mean?
Because
even if you don't, just be like, you know what? I care about you.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, you care about them. That fucking, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
like,
there are
even
so
just
many ways
changing,
to show love.
like,
show love.
Just changing your vernacular a little bit. Like, I remember when I was in RA, one of the trainings was like changing the way that you talk to people. So instead of always saying like, "Hey guys," to being like, "Oh well, guys is not really gender neutral," saying,
true.
"Hey friends." Like, it makes everyone feel more included.
Yes.
Like, and even that was like a review that I got back, like, from a bunch of residents being like, I like how Simon calls us friends. And it's like, yeah, it makes everyone feel so much lighter in the day. Like, and it's such a small thing. And then,
like, folks, y'all, friends.
Yeah, hey, y'all. Like, it was just, instead of,
fun to say, too.
like, yo, what's up, dude? Like, what's up, man? What's up, guy? Like, fuck that shit. Gender is a social construct. But we'll get into that later.
Anyway, speaking of time, we are running out of time.
We are running out of time.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Simon, any announcements before I do this sign off?
Yeah. So, we have a Patreon.
I mean, I was going to go there, but if you want to go there, you
This
go
is
there,
always important, y'all. This shit ain't free. So, like,
It ain't free, though.
It ain't
we
free.
did ask.
And I love doing this. I love y'all. Honestly,
we really do. We love
this
doing
is so fucking
We're
great.
glad that you enjoy it.
Yeah. But please show us that you love us doing this.
'Cause
Please
we
donate.
dying.
Because this shit ain't free. But other than that, follow us on Twitter, TFE Pod. Follow us on Instagram. Instagram.
I'm so glad that you're doing my part.
Oh, you fucking
Keep
know.
Going.
You
Keep
know,
coming.
boo boo. Follow us at The Freydis Effect on Instagram.
Hey.
Find us on Facebook.
Hello.
Yeah, you can listen to the. Oh, you're listening to this shit, so you know where to fucking find us. And
you can find us on Spotify. Follow us there. It'll update you whenever we post a new episode.
And
you
Apple
can find us on
Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. Subscribe there. They will also notify you. You can find us on SoundCloud, and you can follow us, and it will notify you as well.
Hell fucking
please, please, my dear friends that I do love, I know y'all love to text me and tell me how great it is, but I need you to comment on the links.
We need
and on
you.
the socials, and share in your stories and with people that you think would be interested in hearing the show. Instead of texting me, because I know it's great, but other than that, I'm going to see it when you post it as a comment, and I'm going to be notified because I'm the one that's looking at it.
And then the
so
world
will
gets to
Simon.
know
So
just how great
we're
we
just
are.
asking, please do your thing. Show love in that way for us as we show love for you.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, our Patreon, you can become a subscriber, donate a tiny amount, even as small as $1 a month. $1, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like a whole dollar.
Just
you know
a
that
buck.
commercial that's like, you could do this with $1, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you could help your friends for $1.
Please.
$1 a month. That's tiny. It's like less than 0.5555% of your paychecks. Probably
Unless
less.
you're unemployed. Then it's 100%
True, then
of
it's
paycheck.
But anyways, patreon.com/The Freydis Effect. We hope you have a great rest of your week, and we appreciate you and love you.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time.
Bye.
Bye.